Everybody, it's Romania Black, and we're on lucky number 13 of To Be Hero X, and yeah, I say lucky number 13 because last week we left off with Cyan and Queen going out into the desert and being maybe attacked by something. They were supposed to be going on vacation. I don't think that was part of it, so we'll just have to see. Are we going to find any conclusion to that, or what's going to happen? This series is very much like, you'll find out eventually. And I'm like, So I do have some comments I want to talk about in terms of episodes 10 and 11 before we get started this week. But thank you all so much for your support over on the reactions. I know that the Lucky Cyan arc, I was not the biggest proponent of, but for the most part, y'all have been super, super kind and generous about your commentary and critique. So I really appreciate that. Madalam for episode 10 said, fun fact, Lucky Cyan's arc was written solely by Ling Hao Lin, while previous arcs had 2 or more scriptwriters. This could explain the fast pacing, inconsistencies, drop plot points, potential plot holes, and so on. I don't know. I've watched Link Click, the 2 seasons and then the arc that came after season 2, and that stuff is tight. But I feel like that series also has a lot of room to breathe, and there's a lot of mystery and a lot of things you have to go through, and so I feel like there's a lot that you really have to dissect and take apart. I think that's where Lee Howlin is the best at. This whole timeline thing is Link Click. Just figuring out the timeline and what's going on. That I think is where Lee Howlin shines at. So I don't want to give that as an excuse. It is just interesting that it was those episodes that they wrote, right? Eileen Lisa Drarujo 4920 for episode 10 says, I feel like I got several comments about this, and I want to just touch base on it before we move on to episode 11 comments. But they said, I think that Lucky Cyan knew how to do archery and everything, and with the guitar getting it instantly because she's lucky. And look, if that is the reason why, I totally understand that. And okay, I will say, and I said this in my replies, as an English teacher, as someone that literally teaches the construct of writing and the narrative, the structure, everything, character building, how you do all of that. When I was in school, we took a creative writing class, and we had learning about character development and character building. And one of the things that we were taught is that everything needs to have a reason why if it's intentional. Or if it's not intentional and you don't list a reason why, you have to be ready for your audience to assume that what is the reason for this? And if there is no reason, you have to be ready for them to critique it. And one of the examples I distinctly remember my instructor giving was we were talking about superheroes, no joke. And they were like, if the superhero has a broken power, I don't know, healing or luck or something that's very abstract and doesn't have an explanation, that could be seen as lazy writing. And that stuck with me. And so when we got to Lucky Cyan, I was like, okay, well, her luck is determined by her trust and da-da-da-da-da. But then when everybody was like, oh, she just knows how to play guitar because she's lucky. She knows how to be a world-class archer because she's lucky. And I'm like, that, to me, personally, in my opinion, is lazy writing. When the reason is because it's her power. Anybody could say, there's no creativity with that. There's no, coolness to that. It's just oh, that's what it is. And so that's kind of where I came at it, where I'm like, do better, Lee Howlin, do better. That's lazy writing on her power, but whatever. We're going to leave episode 10 behind. That's all I'm going to say about it. That's the last I'm going to say about it. I'm like, well, then why isn't she number 1? Because she can't, because she's stuck in the desert. Anyway, Unikimi 8 for episode 11 says, the timeline is definitely one of the most challenging things in the series. I love it. I love challenging things like timelines, things you have to work out. I love puzzles. I love all of that. No Name Guy, which we're calling X, hijacking Queen's episode, decked in an X outfit, flipping a coin, waving to Queen, snapping his fingers, and we're left with confusion as to what happened, and he became the new X. What an aura farmer! I agree. X is an aura farmer right now, but I'm living for the mystery. I'm curious what we're going to get out of him by the end of the season. Blue Buddy said, I have a question for you. I thought this was interesting. Do you think that Queen is a Nepo baby? Because her dad knows Mickey. I've seen that be an argument against her character. I told Blue Buddy that I would talk about it in this intro. Here's the thing. No, I don't think she's a Nepo baby for a couple of reasons. First of all, she like, Mickey was fired from DOS. He quit DOS. So he quit DOS, he quit the service, and he went on, and then he met that guy outside, and we never saw what became of that, right? And then the next time we see him, he's ran into Mickey again, who he used to work for. But here's the thing. Queen, she worked hard to get where she was at. She foregone friends and a life, a social life, in order to become a hero and to advance herself up the social ladder. We've also seen how it's really her ability that allows her to get privileged with Mickey. I don't think it's her relationship with her dad. I think Liu, this is what I was talking about, I think Liu is riding the coattails off of Queen's success, if anything, because Liu left the agency, he left from DOS, went off on his own, and then Queen became recognized as the hero that she was, got signed on by DOS. Could you argue that they signed her because they knew Liu? Maybe, but Liu also quit their organization, so that doesn't really put a good mark on her. And also, when I think of Nepo babies, I think of people that are just riding off the laurels of their parents. Her dad is a resigned employee from the company, so that you really can't equate that together. And then on top of that, once she was established as a hero within DOS, it almost seems like Liu's kind of benefiting from it. Like, Liu's like, well, hey, you know, my daughter's working for you and she's one of your top heroes. Guess you should let me do what I want. That's kind of the way it reads to me. So no, I don't view Queen as a Nepo baby. I do think that Liu is taking advantage of the situation and using it to benefit his relationship with Mickey, but if she is a Nepo baby, I don't think it's as negative as what people should make it out. But again, that's just my opinion. That's probably not as eloquent as I wanted to word it, but that's just my opinion on it. And then finally, Tiny Truck for episode 11 says, what's with people called Mickey being so creepy? Just like Mickey Mouse. Look, we're not going to get into a Disney discussion, but Mickey is indeed creepy. Indeed creepy. And then they said, Queen is a really interesting character as well. Though one thing I found interesting while watching this reaction that I hadn't noticed before, we don't really get any internal monologues from the episode with Queen, even though this is her arc. You're right. We get internal monologues with, do we get really any internal monologues with Cyan though? We do. We get a little bit of her singing, and I guess she does have some soliloquies and does that, but yeah, we don't really get a lot of internal monologues with Queen. I feel like Queen's character though is someone that kind of exudes on the outside what she's thinking on the inside. Like what she is saying, what she's thinking is what she's saying. What she is thinking is what she's presenting at. So does that make her more genuine in that regard? Maybe. I think it would be a really cool parallel of her and X, because X is very mysterious. We have no idea what he's thinking, and he doesn't show anything on the outside. With her, she's the polar opposite. She's showing everything on the outside. If she's mad, you know it. If she's sad, you know it. If she's distant, you know it. If she's happy, you know it. And then you clap your hands. She is literally exuding all of her emotions on the outside. So I feel like there's that. But anyway, I'm super glad that you all had these really awesome comments to say about the episodes. I hope that you all continue to do that because I love talking about this series with you. Just don't spoil. The mods are going to be checking this for spoilers, but otherwise, I've talked for way too long. We need to get down to brass tacks. We are going to start episode 13 of To Be Hero X, and we are going to do that here in 3, 2, 1... and let's see what we get. So, in traditional To Be Hero X fashion, Lucky Cyan, Queen, never knew him. Like stuck in the desert, never knew him. Lin Ling, who be he? I have a feeling we're at the second half of the series. I have a feeling that like the show is giving us all of these storylines of all these different heroes that's going to converge to the tournament that Lin Ling is supposed to be getting into. Now, I don't know if they're making a season 2 of To Be Hero X. I have no idea. It seems to me like we're at this point over halfway through the series. I'm like, are they setting everything up and then we're going to end the season like before the tournament even starts and we've just been setting up all these arcs and season 2 will be the tournament? I don't know. We're going to see. I don't want any spoilers, but just I want to let you know that that is on my brain as we go into this, as we get into this episode. So to establish the timeline, we are at, for episode 13, We are at year 39. So we established that Lily, aka Lolly, is 16 years old during this time frame. So during this time frame, we know that in episode 40, that's when we have Nice and Moon getting together. And then episode 41 is where we have Lin Ling. And our where we started. So that's 2 years from now. And then the tournament is about to start. The tourney is about to be in this year. In this year, adjacent things that have happened is that there was another tournament. And then in this tournament, we did not get to see Queen fight because it was Queen versus Boa. And then in the same token, well, Queen versus Boa, and then that was in year 38, right? Correct? Year 38, technically. And then year 39 is where she was healing. And then Queen and Cyan are on their vacay in year 39. So while they're in the desert being attacked by who knows what, this all stuff is going on at the same time with Lily. Okay, and we get to meet her character in this and go from there. Okay, also, some things established. Glimmer was mentioned, the Glimmer Labs. Those were mentioned back in the very beginning of the series, I want to say. Glimmer Labs were mentioned. I'd have to... I don't want to, like, look online and get spoilers. My moderator is like, please don't do that. But I know Glimmer has been mentioned. Glimmer was mentioned at one point. I want to say it was during the Isol arc, but I'm not sure. It was not during the Lucky Cyan arc. I'm pretty sure. I think it was during Isol and the Lin Link arc, if anything. But we have a connection to Glimmer Labs. So that is something. Glimmer Labs has been mentioned. Maybe Glimmer Labs was it with Enlightener? I feel like something's connected there. But Dr. Lowe, we saw him. Dr. Lowe at the end of episode 10, when all of the CEOs were like gathered in the room and the doors open. Dr. Lowe was the one that walked through those doors. So he has a connection with the CEOs. So we're going to connect him. He is connected to the CEOs. So that is worth noting. And we saw him in episode 10. Okay. Making connections. Yep. All right. So I want to get started here and talk about Lily. I'm going to call her Lily because I do not want to call her Lolly. And we'll talk about why here in 3, 2, 1. This is kind of one of those things. This episode is in stark contrast to episode 10. And I'm really glad because this is what I'm talking about, where you get a setup and payoff. And I'm glad there was the payoff because I was getting a little worried. I was like, wait, how does she have connections to all this? How is this all working out? And then Lee Howlin's like, will you calm down, bitch? Just wait and watch the show. And I'm like, but this is what I'm talking about. Like with Lily, right off the bat, we establish a couple things about what she has been doing. At 16 years old, girl is freaking ripped. For a 16-year-old, she has been working out. She's been working out. Her dad has been doing his work in home. So she has privy access to the lab and materials. She kind of seems like a prodigy herself. So she seems like a science prodigy, which checks out. All the different ingredients of her actually being able to do things are brought up in this episode and are given an explanation. And I'm like, good, great. So she is trying to like work out here, working on her fitness, getting buffed. Love that her like cat is like a dragon head. All these gym bros are like hanging around. This guy's from freaking Space Dandy, just hanging out here. And they're just like admiring her. Then freaking Awizumi from Haikyuu is here. Why is Awizumi her personal trainer? I don't know. Also, are they trying to do product placement on these dang hydration bottles? Because I was being influenced during the episode to get one. But yeah, girl is like ripped. And I'm glad that they at least establish that she's been building muscle and building her body so that when she does fight in the rabbit costume in Chappie 2.0, it makes sense that her body would be able to withstand it, right? That world building is there. And like, drink some water and take a break. So then she, like, reveals her hair and immediately becomes, like, Utena from Revolutionary Girl Utena and or Mitzi from Alien Stage. And they're like, oh, a cute girl. We're going to save it for the Calamity Corner. We're going to save it for the Calamity Corner. You thought that Calamity Corner was done? No. We're going to save it. We're going to save it for the Calamity Corner. But yeah, I do feel for her that she's like, I hate this stupid, superficial world. I'm sure that X would probably be bestie frenzies with you. So we go back 18 years. We go back 10 years to year 28. And it says, in these 28 years, we've all received protection from the heroes. So again, they're making these notes about the incident that happened 28 years. Like, it was the downfall incident or whatever, but the incident that happened at the very beginning. I guess we should, instead of 20 years ago, we should just say year 0. Year 0 is when this incident happened that changed everything and started the whole thing where heroes were born. I'm like, was it like aliens coming to the world? Was it an explosion of some like radioactive materials? Like, what is it? I don't know. Also, something that's really cute for the continuity is if you look in her room during this like scene here, there are 2 things that come together that you can see influencing her inspirations. There's rabbits, which I feel like her with the pink hair and the rabbit feels like a Chibi-Usa, feels like Sailor Moon, like a reference, because Sailor Moon is Usagi, who is like, which is Japanese for bunny, and then here, like, her daughter was Chibi-Usa and she had pink hair. Feels like a reference, but also it is the robots too, so it's this mix of cute and robot, like this robotic side of it and then the cutesy rabbit side of it, you know? So I feel like there's something to that. But she... 11 years before when she was 5 years old, she saw the speech given by Queen. So at age 5, she was influenced by a 12-year-old Queen. When she gave that speech outside of the graduation, she was influenced as well. So that's kind of cool to see, right? There's like a 7-year age difference between the 2 of them. Interesting indeed. Okay. And so she's like, I want to be a hero when I grew up. And she's super cute. Like, to be fair, as a little kid, absolutely adorable. Like, I don't blame the mom for filming her saying it. One thing I am glad is that the mom did not put this online, because I am very much against children being filmed and put online. I think it should be banned. I don't think you should make money off your children on social media content. I think that's gross. I think it's all kind of bads for lots of different reasons. Mm-hmm. Also, the mom having the flower necklace is interesting. I feel like I've seen it somewhere before, but maybe I'm confusing it with Lucky Cyan. The mom looks like, the way her hair is, she kind of looks like Shi-Lian from Heaven Official's Blessing. Just the way that the hair is drawn, for sure. But man, where does our girl Lily get her genetics? Not from the mom's side and not from the dad's side, so who knows where they came from. I do like there's some context clues when you look at the house here, which I was trying to piece it together throughout, but looking at it now that we can kind of take time and digest everything in front of us, like, this is a nice house. A very nice house. Like, that's a nice living room. So I'm like, okay, they've got money. What do we do with that? And she's like, stop calling me cute. And then this part here was when I was like, oh, she has money because she has an in-home fitness center. That stuff's not cheap. And then her room is huge, meaning that her family's got some money. And then not only that, look, she's got a Lucky Cyan poster. That's interesting. And one says Gray World. I don't know what the Gray World is, but she has a Lucky Cyan poster. And then she has a Queen action figure. And then the in-home equipment. And if you look there by the equipment there, this is what I've been missing. I've been missing all these little Easter eggs. I've been missing seeing them. There's like Queen posters by her fitness center equipment. That's cool. But then she has this tech here. I'm pretty sure the people don't have this tech. So I was like, where the hell did she get this from? And I thought she was like wanting to change her appearance. I thought we were getting to like Psycho-Pass territory, but we are not. Instead, we backtracked to like when she was like a kid. Also, the fact that the title card is in trans colors, I'm like, is this going to lead her to want to change her identity completely? I don't know. I feel like there is definitely a commentary about there's lots of commentary about women in this series, which I was not expecting, but definitely a major commentary about how women look and how they are treated based on how they look. There's a whole subgenre of that. The way, I don't know if like the pink and blue is supposed to be like male versus female and then the white's just there, or if it's supposed to be like a trans flag. I don't know what the intent is behind that, but if you told me that Lily was going to be trans by the end of this arc, I would believe you. So yeah, so she, in any case, I love that her room gets updated, but she keeps like the bear and stuff and some of the other stuff behind. But yeah, she's like, I just don't want to be made fun of for my appearance. I want to help people. Hero Lolly, defender of justice, destroyer of evil. I would go with a different name than Lolly. If you don't know Lolly and what that refers to, Lolly just means young girl, but there is like a lolicon subgenre of people that kind of fetishize people, women that look like young girls. It's kind of, look, I am not in any support of people fetishizing underage people. I don't like that at all, but that's tricky slope. That's just a slippery slope. That's a slippery slope. I'm not for pedophilia, and I'm not for stuff that is sexualizing minors, so can't say I'm supporting any of that, but I would have maybe just been like, instead of like Lily, do like something, like Lily is a poisonous flower, like you'd be kind of badass with that. Go with like Rose or something, like thorns, you know. But yeah, poor Dajong. Dajong, who works at the lab and is like her neighbor, who's like Melvin from Sailor Moon. Again, he's kind of cute. He's like, where'd you get that weapon? She's out here being like Kim Possible. So this guy chose, I do think the kowtow crossbow is crazy, where it's like a weight and it makes you fall down like you're kowtowing, and also like makes the guy drop his trowel. They established that she's kind of an inventor early on, which is great. I thought at first when she was battling the creepy guy, the stalker, that it was like too big of a leap. But then when you find out that her dad's an inventor and that that's his basement, I'm like, oh, okay. Now we have an explanation. Now it all makes sense. Okay, now we're all good to go. This kid, though, he chose like the worst time to confess. Like, why? What in your right mind thought that, like, while your pants are hanging down your waist, that this would be a good time to confess? Like, what the fudge? Crazy. And she's like, no. And unfortunately, at first I was kind of supporting her and Dajong, especially when he, like, offered her the umbrella and she thought he was confessing. But the moment she met the other girl, Nunu, I was like, oh no, girl, you found the one. I'm shipping them 100%. We just gotta hope nothing bad happens to them. Can I not be a hero just because I'm cute? Calamity Corner. Calamity Corner, but like the concept of cute. I feel like cute is subjective. I don't know. We'll talk about more in the Calamity Corner. But just in overarching, I mean, like, I don't feel like she looks any cuter than Queen, or any cuter than Cyan, or any cuter than Moon, or Big Johnny. I feel like she's cute, don't get me wrong, but I don't know if the series goes out of its way enough to make her, like, as cute as she is. I don't know. We're going to talk about the Calamity Corner. Not for now. But yeah, I do like Dajong. I mean, she looks innocent, but yeah. She's like, not you too, and then she runs away. He's like, I brought an extra umbrella. What justice is that? If I get pegged as some cute, helpless girl because of my appearance, I'm just going to get weaker and weaker. And I get the statement that she's making here because her friend gets it brought up with the receptionist job, which we'll talk about then. But her trust value goes down at the beginning, which we're going to talk about that as well in the Calamity Corner. But I do feel like I get what she is saying to an extent, where women are judged based on appearance a lot, and how you look often impacts the way that people view you. I think that that's not just true for women, though. I think men are judged just as much based on their appearance. I know a lot of guys that are judged and thought of certain ways based on how they look. I've had several friends that their sexuality has been guessed upon by other people based on how they look, whether that was accurate or not any of their business. But I also feel like people do judge based on how you look. It's not a gendered thing necessarily. However, as a woman myself, I do definitely see some women are brought down, especially when they fit a certain standard of beauty. Like I've had friends that literally have had well, she's pretty, implying that she's not very smart. So I've literally heard people say that. And so I can see where she's coming from with it, in that because she is so attractive, people won't think of her as a serious hero. And to be fair, in the series, I mean, Queen asserts herself. Queen asserts herself, and her attitude kind of makes you have to look at her a different way. Her attitude is like, you will view me as a hero. I am going to be that bitch, and you can call me a bitch, and you can do this. This is what you're going to think of me. And it influences how they view her. But then I do see what Lily is getting at, because you look at a character like Moon, and even though Moon was, you know, rescuing people and being heroic, people still really only looked at her for her relationship with Nice. And she was kind of like viewed as a trophy, even though they say they gave her autonomy, but did she really have autonomy? She didn't even think that she had autonomy. So I get where Lily is coming from. Is she going to be taken seriously? Now, there are characters like Boa that are taken seriously, but then again, there's that idea of that traditional standard of beauty. And she's like, and I did really love this scene, because she's like, oh, I'll cut my hair and then they'll view me differently. But what I loved about this scene is that then she goes, no, I don't want to cut my hair. I like my hair being pink. I like my hair being long. But why can't I be viewed as being beautiful and strong? Why can't I have multiple facets to my personality be recognized? And it's a legit argument. And I feel for her, because she shouldn't have to change who she is. I mean, she's giving me a lot of Revolutionary Girl Lieutenant vibes, for sure. But she's like, I like long hair and I like pink. Why should I give in? I think it's very important that she questions like the standards of what is viewed as for women and what's for not for women, you know? There was a commercial I heard on the radio today when I was driving, and it was like, there was a man, a seemingly male voice and a seemingly feminine voice on the radio. And one was saying, oh man, I got to go and get my hunting gear. And one girl's like, I got to get my designer purse. And I was like, oh. Or it wasn't hunting gear, but it was like something that would be typically given to a man. And then the designer purse was the woman. And I remember like driving going, well, I'd rather have what the guy was having, you know, instead of, I'm not a designer purse person. That's just not me at all. But it's often assumed that women like certain things. It's generalized that way when it could not be further from the truth most of the time. So yeah, she's like, what's wrong with being short? Why do I have to change myself? I'm like, girl, don't look Max. Do not hype Max either. And then, so her whole thing is like, this whole screen here is like a social media, like a computer screen, which is kind of crazy. But can we talk about my new favorite hero, DJ Shindig? Can we talk about him? Can we talk about DJ Shindig? Because he is my new favorite hero. I don't care what any of y'all say. FOMO may have ended they may have ended their career with him, but look at that drip. Look at it. Look at this. He reached the top in the rankings 15 years ago. Okay, so establish it with the timeline. Let's clock it. Let's see. DJ Shindig is probably got some age on him by now. So let's get down here. DJ Shindig, aka the greatest hero of them all. So 15 years ago, he reached the top in the ranking tournament. So he was X at one point. DJ Shindig was on top of the world at one point. Long ago, in the EDM days. He was getting there. So he was X in if it was 15 years for year 39, that'd be 29, 24, year 24. Okay. I feel like Isol is connected to that year at some point. Was that the year that Isol took over as being the number one hero? Maybe there's something with year 24. We'd have to look back. I actually saved a picture of that timeline that I made originally, and I want to go back to it because I know I saved it, and I want to go back to that picture and see if there was anything on that timeline for year 24. Year 26, Queen is... Okay, in year 26, Queen is 12. Okay. So that would have been, yeah, so she would have been 14 when she gave the speech that Lily heard. Okay, so her and if Lily was 5 and she was 14, so there's like 9 years age difference there. Okay. We don't have anything for year 24, but we have year 8. There was a female hero X. I had down when Esol became the hero. It was a while back. Okay, year 23, there was the plane crash. Okay, so, and Esol saved Young Chong in year 20. Okay, so the year after the plane crash, when Lucky Cyan was but a wee toddler, we had the amazing DJ Shindig, top of the world. What a time. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I just look at the outfit. Look at the cool, like the ombre jacket, the DJ headset. He's ripped. He's got the pants. I mean, I'm all about DJ Shindig. Love that for him. Yeah, 15 years ago he was a top, but his performance has stagnated since. There's a common theme, if you haven't noticed, among a lot of these heroes, where they reach that plateau, they reach the top of the ladder, and then they just go, and then they just plateau off, and they don't have anywhere, it's like, they don't have anywhere to go. You reach the top of the ladder. You're number 1. The only place you can go is down. You can't go any higher. So, like, what do? DJ Shindig, he had it all. DJ Shindig had the world in the palm of his hand. But Lily gets the idea that she's like, hey, I know what I can do. I can make myself a hero that is in a costume and no one will know that I'm cute and they won't judge me for it. What the lesson should be is that she should learn to embrace who she is. And if she's cute, fine. Use that to her advantage. She kind of uses it to her advantage when she approaches the guy that has the knife. I wonder if he's DJ Shindig. I wonder if the guy with the glasses and the fluffed out frat boy hair, I wonder if he's really DJ Shindig. And then he shows up in costume. Because he said he fell from grace, so I don't know. Why would he be trying to get into Glimmer Labs? Well, he has equipment, so I don't know. I feel like Cynthia Erivo. I'm like, what is happening? So she gets this idea to try and mask who she is. And they're like, what are you doing down in the lab again? At first, I'm not gonna lie, when she goes down the lab, I'm like, whoa, when did we get this? When did we get all this equipment? This did not just arrive overnight. No way, this 3D printer, all this stuff, this, whatever the hell this is. I was like, what is this? What have we been experimenting on? But we do find out her dad had an in-home lab. I feel like this was like a conflict of interest at work where he was like, I'm just taking a few things home, guys. I'm taking a few things home to work on. And then it just slowly built up over time. And he's like, shit, I got all this stuff in the lab. I guess I gotta take it back now. I'm glad that we got explanation for that because I was just like so thrown off being like, what, when, where, what, how? But I do think the lesson should be that she should embrace who she is and celebrate, like, fine, if I'm cute, I'm cute. Let me celebrate it, let me use it, but let me also prove that I'm more than just that. I do love the Test Bunny outfit. I do love the little bow tie, but also the bow tie, like, the suit itself is kind of masculine, and it has, like, the blue and the pink on it as well. I'm like, does Lily want to be, like, how does she want to present herself? How do they want to present themselves? I don't know. I'm curious if they will delve into that. I don't know. I don't know how they're going to dive into it. I'm curious if they will to a specific extent or not. But in any case, I feel like, yeah, we're exploring this concept of gender and masculinity and femininity, and I'm kind of all here for it. So then we meet this girl who has impeccable fashion. I love her, like, tie skirt. Love the bow bag. Love she has this, like, snowflake shirt. Almost thought it was like Lucky Cyan. Then there's Bagel Toys. What the fudge is Bagel Toys? But yeah, there's this creepy dude here. I don't like him. But he's weird, right? So this guy's creepy. I'm not a fan. But at the same time, he's kind of goofy. So I'm like, is it DJ Shindig in disguise? I don't know. He's just kind of odd. Like, he's wearing, like, a black bodysuit, but then he has the glasses. But then he has the hair. I'm like, who are you? And then he kind of acts sort of goofy, but then he had the knife and was trying to attack her. I don't know how to read him. I'm so curious about what we're going to get with his character. But yeah, so she runs off, and then luckily there's a creep following me, and then Chappie 2.0 tries to save her. And then, yeah, he comes at her. I love the bunny face with the angry rabbit. I love it. It's great. Love that. So anyway, she fights him, but it doesn't all go to plan, right? And she can't get the tech to work right. We don't know who this man is. He's kind of mysterious. And then she takes off the helmet, and somehow it is her looks that make him go away. He sees her, and then he, like, bows and runs off. She's like, get lost. And it works. We don't know how it works. But maybe he just, like, gets attracted to her and is like, oh, I can't attack her because she's too cute. And he runs away. But here's the thing. Then she's like, oh, it looks like your transducer has been hit. I thought that was Lily saying that her transducer had been hit. I didn't realize it was the other girl saying it. So now I'm like, okay, that was a nice little hint that she worked for Glimmer. And she's like, I should be the one thanking you. I didn't expect to see such a cute girl underneath the hero suit. Here's the thing. I am shipping them. At first I was like, oh, you know, she wasn't meaning to say it. But then afterwards I'm like, no, I kind of support these two women. Like, I'm kind of here for it. You saved her, and I love her design. I'm like, yeah. God, that's such a good shot. I feel for Lily, because I want Lily to be accepted, but I feel like she's maybe going about it the wrong way in terms that she should, and it's hard to embrace something that you feel is holding you back. It's hard to embrace something you feel is holding you back. But at the same time, I'm like, by embracing it, you can use it to your advantage. Like, I don't know how that will work with her gaining the trust value, but it could. I think if she marketed it the right way, she can make it work. Because we've seen other heroes make it work. Like Moon's made it work. Cyan's made it work. Queen's made it work. Boa's made it work. I think there's a way to do it. So I wish she could just find that happy medium to get what she wants. Also, that hat's amazing. Really love that. She looks so young. And then this guy shows up. I thought it was like Uncle Rock's cousin for a hot second. But yeah. She was doing all this by herself. Apparently your daughter is a prodigy. Surprise. Yeah, where she gets these genetics, don't know. Because unless that man's hair was pink at one point, it skipped a generation. Now the mom's pretty, but like, she looks nothing like her parents. And so she convinces her dad to let her work at the lab with him. Or rather, he decides, I do like that the dad, instead of stifling her creativity and stifling her ingenuity, is like, hey, let's put these things to work. You want to do all this stuff, then come work at our labs. And Da Zhang finds like the blueprints for the robot, which is very Five Nights at Freddy. Don't touch my stuff, Da Zhang. Come and work properly at the Glimmer lab. Okay. I'll put in a special application. I like that you can see all the like fine details of the robotics and everything that she's doing. That's awesome. And so I'll put in a special app. Now this, friends, this is called nepotism. This is the nepotism. If you were asking if anybody was a nepo baby, Lily is a nepo baby. This is the nepotism, because not to say that she hasn't worked hard. Queen worked hard to become a hero and did not have to rely on her father to become a hero. She did all that herself. She passed the test. She got the trust value up. She made herself have the press conferences. She forced her way into the limelight, and that allowed her to connect with others. And then she got signed by DOS and she was a hero and was signed by DOS. I guess you could argue if DOS hadn't signed her, would she be a hero? But she could have gone with another agency. I'm sure another agency would have signed her eventually. So I don't view Queen like a nepo baby, but I don't know, because Lily does her own work and she made her own thing too, but her dad getting her the job directly at Glimmer, like he just outright said, I'm going to put in a special request and get you in. I don't know if Liu could have done that. I don't know. We didn't see that happen. So it's kind of up in the air, but I think she kind of is. It's a slippery slope. It's really hard to determine between the two of them. I need more context of when she joined DOS to know for sure. But here, it's pretty obvious. He's like, Da Zhang and I are going to get you in, so don't you worry. And she's like, yes. And that's all she wants, is to work there in Glimmer. Yeah, okay. I feel as if we have seen this before. We've seen this. What is that? Mens et manus, lux et veritas. What is that? Men et manus. What does that mean? Mind and hand. Okay. And then lux ex veritas. Et veritas. Mind and hand, light and truth. Ooh, okay. Come on, Latin. Come on. Let's go. Interesting. Each project has a designated person in charge. So then we're in Station 11. I don't know if that 11 is worth noting anything, but she asks if the projects in Warehouse 11 are all things that have been abandoned or have been, like, dropped. And he's like, no. Of course, Da Zhang says no because one of his projects is he doesn't think it's been dropped yet. And he's like, check out this armor. He says this was completed in secret not too long ago. It will surely become a godly mecha armor to your ideals. Now, I like Da Zhang. He basically is admitting that he's been working on this in secret to finish this project. I could see why she would look at this gunbuster-esque armor and go, it's not really my aesthetic. But I feel like the two of them could work to tailor it, you know? So then we see her friend. He's like, I never thought you'd be one to lie to save another's feelings, to each their own. And you've brought someone new to look at your masterpieces again, huh? All this gold will glitter forever. Okay, pony boy. So yeah. And then we see her. Honestly, whenever she's like out in public and the moon and the lamp lights and the moonlight hits her, her hair does not look black. Her hair literally looks golden. So interesting. Yeah. So we get her name. It's like, oh yeah, Professor Lowe transferred me here to help Da Zhang manage the warehouse. He's like, oh, what does he say there? He goes, this is great. Now I've got really good helping hands. They're like, don't get ahead of yourself. These two are automatically being shipped together. Do not separate. I love these two women. Da Zhang, I don't know how to tell you that you're the third wheel, but you are the third wheel, my friend. So yeah, we get all these little details. Oh, I love her like phone wallpapers. Don't underestimate me. Super cute. I love the primary color things here. They're working on different things with the tech. And they're working on ways to get the armor up. Nice. That's pretty cool. What does it say there? There's remaining data transmission. Interesting. Okay. So this is what she wants to build. Nice. My dad's lab, it looked like junk. The redesign is going a lot better. So the two of them talking, like, they automatically, like, have such chemistry together. But she says, my first job was a reception job. My name is Wang Nono. Nono. My name is Wang Nono. I want to call her NN. Old N squared. Old Nono. Nyo. Is it Nyo? My tongue is gonna get tied on that. But anyway, I do feel for her. I'm curious in China if this is something that happens, because I can't imagine applying for an engineering job in the US and then being like, want to be a secretary? I can't see that. What I see instead is if you applied for the engineering job in the US and they looked at you and you were pretty and they were like, I don't think you're cut out for it. I could see that, but I couldn't see them like being like, oh, be a secretary instead. That's like a whole different job market application process, everything else in the US. Maybe in China it's different. But I felt bad for her because it really sucks when people do not think that you're qualified for the job just based on your sex and your appearance. I've had that happen myself, where I've had people assume that I don't know what I'm talking about, and then I have to, especially maybe in certain spheres, like in the academic sphere, I feel like in the US, it's become progressive enough where it's not like as big of a deal anymore. People recognize that there are women PhDs, things like that. There are female doctors, things like that. But like in my position, for me personally, in the agricultural sphere, it is very much still a man's world. and women are expected to have certain roles in it. Not to say that they don't. Like, there are women in ag business, communications, etc. But like, for example, I really like genetics. So like cattle genetics, I'm obsessed with it. It's genealogy and bloodlines and things like that. And over the years, I've had older farmers like come and ask me about genetics. But at first, you know, they weren't too keen on it. And then they were like, oh, you actually do know your stuff. And I'm like, yeah. So I feel like there is a curve there. And I'm glad that she talks about it and that it's addressed. And the worst part is this woman in the room was an accomplice to that. She like was like, they were like, oh wow, she's pretty. And they're like, well, there's this receptionist job. You want to give her that instead? I'm like, you're part of the problem. So I thought that part was interesting. And then they give her this job to acclimate. And luckily Dr. Lowe is like, what the fudge are y'all doing? This is I love that Lily's dad is just like, what the fudge? He's just like, this is a waste of our resources. A true scientist. So he's like, work for me. And so what's interesting here is, okay, I'm going to save it for the Calamity Corner. But what is interesting here is that Lily does not have as much of a relationship with her dad. Whereas it's very apparent that Nono has established like a relationship with him. Like she views him as very caring and resourceful and a good man. And Lily's kind of like, he's never around. So it very much was like, it reminded me of Peter Parker and Harvey Osborn. Or Harry Osborn, where Harry Osborn was like, I'm never around, my dad's always busy. And Peter Parker's like, man, you know, we kind of have a decent relationship. One of those situations. But anyway, so again, this water bottle is getting marketed for all the hydration. We're going to be close to completion tomorrow. And so then they decide to go out for a drink. So, okay, they were almost done with the robot, whatever they were working on. And then they decide to go out for drinks. And we find out that Nono is a lightweight. And that our dear sweet Lily is too young to drink because she's only 16. So Nono must be at least 18. Yeah. She's like, I'm scary when I'm drunk. Well, she just gets really sloshed. So yeah, what is this? Deus? Zeta Deus? It's like Deus Ex Machina, maybe? But they take the picture, and then she looks over and sees this creepy-ass man watching them. What the fudge? I do like that. I do love Lily being like, we're gonna set some boundaries and tell this guy it is not cool to chase after us. It's not cool to stalk us. No, thank you, ma'am. Like, we're gonna have to like let him know what's up. We're gonna wage warn him together. When they both stood up in the window and like locked hands in this, I was like, ship sailed, like break the champagne bottle over the side of it, send them on their way. It's a ship. Sorry, Dajong, you have officially been booted off the island. And they tell him to get lost. That's super cute. I almost want that to be the thumbnail. That's adorable. Meanwhile, I wanted to treat him as threatening because he had a knife and he pulled it on her and he was stalking Nono, but then he does this where he just like hunkers down and I'm like, that's almost played for laughs. I'm like, what? Is there a misunderstanding? What is going on? I don't understand. I'm so curious. Now, what I thought was going to happen was that they're going to walk back and she was going to be like, I'm not drunk, Miss Thing, it's all good. Like, I thought she was going to do one of those. No, they're pretty much like, really? They're like, really? She's an elite graduate? So they're back at the lab. She's like, you can rest up here. And then when she turns around and does this, saying you have to become a hero, I was like, oh. Mm-hmm. I thought she was going to try to kiss her. And then I was like, wait, is this a Donghua? Will the government allow this? I was like, I mean, it's pretty on the nose. She's like, of course. And when she offered her the water bottle, was that going to be an indirect kiss? But then she's like, who's trying to call? So that's the question. And they're like, what, another drunk guy? I mean, if I saw this man, I would probably think he was drunk too. Nobody remembers me more. Let us reminisce, enjoy then. DJ Shindig is in the house. Oh my gosh. I just feel like the band LMFAO is just playing nonstop behind him. Party rock is in the house tonight. But then he causes this explosion to happen. So why? Why is that? And like they're about to laugh at him and then he says, let the party begin, and there's an explosion. So what? What? Excuse me? Pardon? What's about to happen? What's going down? So either the guy that's stalking them is DJ Shindig in disguise, or because it would be pretty obvious to see some guy in a giant disco ball walking down the street. I could see that. And plus, do I believe that somebody with the frat boy hair and the glasses would dress like DJ Shindig? Absolutely. Or DJ Shindig and Stalker Man might be working together. Might be working together. I don't know. I don't know. So, I can't believe it's a cliffhanger. Okay, I do want to talk a little bit about a Calamity Corner. I only have like two things. Two things for the Calamity Corner, and that's it. Because luckily, this episode gave me a lot of answers with the dad, and now I'm intrigued because the dad has been seen before, and I'm curious what all we're going to get with him, so that's good there. The one little minor Calamity Corner thing is that when she was like, I really look up to your dad, and Lily was like, well, what's your relationship with him then? And she's like, well, my dad died 3 years ago. I was like, I knew it! I knew it was going to be some melodramatic shit like that. I knew it! I knew she was going to say, well, actually, my dad's dead. And it's like, put your foot in your mouth. Which, you know what? I'll give that one a pass. Because Lily, I've been there. I've stuck my foot in my mouth so many times. I get it. So, girl, I feel you on that one. The one thing, though, that kind of gets me, and it's not anything... I mean, it's fine. It really is honestly fine. But it's mainly the idea of her not having trust because the moment you see she has long hair and she's cute, that you can't trust all the work that she's put in. And I know it's based on real life and it's fine. It's just a little on the nose. It's a little on the nose. It's a little on the nose. It could have been more subtle, I think, but it's fine. I feel like the stuff with Mickey, where he has this like very forced feminism and he's like doing some blatant misogyny that he's trying to hide. I think that stuff's a little bit more interesting, oddly enough, but it's fine. Honestly, after going through this episode, the Calamity Corner is not as bad as I thought it was. But I really like Lily's character, and I really relate to her and Nono's circumstances, and I'm like, I get it. I get where they're coming from. And I want to root for both of them. And I want to see what is up with DJ Shindig. And I guess we're going to have to wait till next week to find that out. So, in any case, I'm really excited to hear your thoughts down below. I hope you enjoyed this reaction and discussion. I'm excited for next week. It's going to be a lot of fun. But I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care. And yeah, I'll be back very soon with more reactions.